200,000 miles on this 4Runner, and the engine is supposedly making some strange noises. Let's dive in today and see if anything's wrong with it and give this thing a check over. Let's get started. This is a 2010 Toyota 4Runner, and the owner of it is a Toyota fan. They've had or have other Toyotas. They just bought this one, almost 200,000 miles on it, and it's making a strange noise that they're wondering about in the engine bay. If it's normal, if it's not normal, they'd like us to take a look at it. And thinking about engine noises, Mrs. Wizard actually has a video coming out. Click the link below to Mrs. Wizard's Ways of a video she's doing about abnormal noises on your engine or on your car and what you should do when you hear certain noises. So definitely click on that link and go check it out. So before we dive in, let's check out what does a Toyota look like with 200,000 miles on it. I know a lot of Buicks and Chevys that are pretty roached out at 200,000 miles. Here's the front of this 4Runner. It is in very good shape. It's kind of a pearl white color. I do love the styling of this generation of the 4Runner. It is very, very nice. It's kind of Land Rover-ish. It has very high belt line on it. As I just said, as we're going down this side, you can see that the belt line is up pretty high. And even when you're driving the vehicle, where you put your elbows on the door, it's actually up pretty high. You'll see when Mrs. Wizard gives you the tour. It does have some 17-inch wheels on it, which is kind of small for modern cars, but it gives a good ride. This is a base 4Runner, 4-wheel drive. It's not a limited or any special edition of it. But as you can see, 200,000 miles, and this thing appears to have maybe 50,000 miles on it. It's in very, very good condition. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here's our 4-liter V6, which is very common on a lot of Toyota SUVs and trucks. It is the 1GR FE 4-liter V6. These are very good engines. They're in FJ Cruisers, Tacomas, 4Runners, all kinds of different vehicles. These are the type of engines can easily go 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 miles. They last a long, long time. As you can see, there doesn't seem to be any serious rust or any damage or anything dirty underneath the hood. It looks very nice and very presentable. Let's let Mrs. Wizard give you guys a tour of the interior. You'll notice on the doors where the windows are up high. Also, the window switches are up high, very much like an LR3. So, yeah, take it away, Mrs. Wizard.
This is one great dash. I love all the orange, but you can see there in the center, 196,936 miles. And yes, you do have to like orange if you are going to drive this car. There's a lot of it up there. And you can see actually there's a few of those lights blinking and flashing. All of it just to prove that there is the bulb behind it that is actually working. Nothing's actually going wrong with any of the lights. But when you turn off the key, you can kind of see it has a nice little pattern behind it. Almost it looks reminiscent to carbon fiber, but it's not. It's just pressed plastic, but still looks really nice. As you move up, look at this dash. I mean, there's a little mark there where it looks like maybe something had been stuck on there, but that is the extent of it. Almost 200,000 miles and nothing is wrong. This is amazing. I'm quite impressed. I don't see any gouge marks. I don't see any scratches. And you know what? It actually smells nice in here. It smells almost like a new car. I love these huge knobs for our HVAC system. Everything is big in here. There is a little bit of wear on our gear selector. You can kind of see where some of it has wore away. That is it. That is the only bit of wear I have seen so far. We have one cup holder here next to our range selector for our 4-wheel drive, and if we move back, you'll see we have controls for those nice creature comforts of our heated seat. And again, another really big cup holder. As you move to our seat, you can see that they are leather, and that is about the extent to the wear on this car. That is it. And even on the driver's side, that is the extent of the wear, where people go in and out and kind of slide in and out. You have to kind of hop up here for a lot of people. But that is the extent of the wear on those seats, and they are looking really nice. No breaks in the stitching. Everything is fabulous. And then here's that door card that Wizard was talking about. You can see that there is definitely a height between the armrest and the bottom sill of the window. And he mentioned that the controls for the window itself are up there on top. So a little bit of a reach, but again, all of it is looking really nice and leather wrapped. The back seat has a 40-60 split, but it's all looking really good. Not sure that it's really been even used terribly much back there. I don't see any marks or anything going on. It's in really nice shape. As we go to our headliner, I do see a few little spots here and there, and the camera is probably picking up on them even better because, well, that's what cameras like to do. We're back to our steering wheel, and it is a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and it feels really comfortable to hold. I like how they have this extra spot right there. Makes it a little bit more comfortable if you're on a long drive. But again, simple controls on there. Toyota symbol in front of that airbag, but that's about it. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air so we can see maybe what's going on, or at least what does 200,000 miles look like on a Toyota.
On other cars with this many miles, I could suspect to lift them up and see wet spots and things leaking all over the place, especially a Kia or a Hyundai or a Genesis. But this is a Toyota. Let's take a look. So you can see right here, here's some pans. There's our radiator core support directly above that, and looks like someone's put some new bolts in it. They've had it apart, but nothing is leaking. Check out our brakes. They're about 80% remaining. Struts are dry. CV boots are good. Nothing's loose. Brakes are good over here. Struts are good. There's a little bit of surface rust here and there, but nothing that's out of the ordinary. CV boots are good. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose. So one way you can check if there's leaks where there are panels is there's always little holes and things. And if there's any leaks, there's going to be drips coming out of those holes or off the sides of it, or the panel itself. As you're driving, it'll blow the leak along the bottom and you'll see streaks everywhere. But again, we're not seeing much of anything on here. Here's our front drive shaft, nice and tight. Our cats are in place. The tweakers haven't gotten to them, so that's good. I do see a little grease pooched out on this U-joint, which is good. That means they've been maintaining it and greasing the joints like they're supposed to. And just like the story of many Toyotas, SUVs and trucks with 200,000 miles on them, there's nothing leaking. It's in very, very good shape as far as seals and gaskets. Here we can see that they've greased the slip yoke and also the U-joint. There's a little bit of grease, kind of a little light sludge on it or whatever, which is good. That means it's been serviced. Transfer case is dry. We have a nice steel skid plate here for the fuel tank. It doesn't cover the whole tank, just kind of the front part here, which is good. If there's any impact, you'll know it right away, which got a little rattle there. But the tank is not fully covered. U-joints are good on the drive shaft. No leaking differential. Check these back brakes. They look brand new. Shock is not blown out. Nothing loose there. Brakes are good. Shock is good. Sway bar link is good. All the different joints and things look good. Let's check our spare tire though. It's got air in it, so at least if they have an issue with a tire, they have a spare to use. You'll be surprised how many vehicles are on the road today and their spare tire is even more flat than probably a flat they could possibly have. Let's check out the date codes on the tires. It's got some Kelly Edge HTs on it, and it shows 13th week of 2023. So these tires have got quite a bit of life left in them. Let's get this thing on the ground and listen for that noise. I'll get this opened up and start the engine and we'll listen for some noises. Hard to hear because it just started, it's cold, and the fan is at, it's got a clutch fan on it, it's doing this thing. Let's let it run for a few seconds and kind of idle down, and you can hear the noise. So right now you can just barely hear it, and it sounds like a chain, like a timing chain noise. And let me let you guys take a listen. I will do this for you. I'm going to put it into drive and it brings the RPM down. You may be able to even hear it a little better. So if you just bought a new vehicle, which they just bought this one, it's not brand new, but it's new to them, and you're not used to hearing that noise, or maybe your car doesn't make any noises or it's not as loud, And then you hear this one running like you go in front of a parking mall and you can hear it kind of echoing off the side of the building, or even just in your garage. You're like, why is it so loud? It's like, here's the thing. Most modern cars have a timing chain noise or some sort of a whining noise, timing belt noise. It's actually completely normal. The FJ Cruiser that I used to own, the FJ Cruiser that Hoovie owns, several others that I've worked on, and every single 4-liter Toyota that I've worked on makes that noise. There's nothing wrong with it. Some might be a little quieter, some might be a little louder, but a lot of modern cars have that noise. Think about the early 90s Mercedes. When you first start them up, it's almost like a power steering whine. And then they kind of idle goes down. You're like, what's that noise? Nothing. There's nothing wrong. It's normal. It just makes a noise. It's part of the operation of the engine. That's a similar situation going on here. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's nothing broken. There are engines out there, though, with timing chains and things that can go bad and make loud noises and break. Like the GM 3.6, they have lots of timing chain problems. They can be very loud and make a lot of dieseling style noises. Also like the L322 Range Rovers that have the BMW 4.4 V8 in them. They had lots of timing chain issues. The one we had did that, and it would slap and it would make terrible noises. It finally did break. There's a time when you know this is broken, something's wrong, but that is not the case with this Toyota. It's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's a few small things we're going to check on this. We're going to recommend some services. Being it's at 200,000 miles, if we don't have documented transmission services for the previous life of this car, we generally don't touch the transmissions, especially if the fluid is clean. Every single time that I've ever done a transmission flush on a vehicle that does 250, 300,000 miles, it ends up biting me. It comes back slipping or something's not shifting right. And actually one of my mentors who had been working for 40 years on cars told me the same thing when I was younger. If a transmission has not been serviced up to about 150, 200,000 miles, don't touch it. What happens is the fluid actually can get a little dirty with friction material in the fluid. And that material suspended in the fluid is actually holding things together. It's actually allowing clutches and things to work. You take and flush all that out and put fresh fluid in, and then it will reveal a problem that's been there all along, and it probably would have lasted quite a while longer if you just left it alone. Now, it's an ever since problem. Just like in any mechanic shop, anyone who works in a shop hates those two words, ever since. Ever since you put a headlight bulb in my car, my AC quit. You know, just crazy stuff like that. That's what you can learn to expect if you tamper with a transmission that's got 200,000 or more miles on it. So we don't touch them. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to do the services on this or work on any of the other cars in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. If you purchase anything, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got a lot of cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.